In this tutorial, we're going to talk about how to create an ambient occlusion map with a normal map. Now typically the ambient occlusion is made with the surface shader, but we're not going to do that. We're going to use a Lambert, and the reason being is that the Lambert allows you to load in your normal map. And the reason they use the surface shader is because it has no lighting information. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my model and right click and apply the material. And then I'm going to come up here and it renders grays. First thing we want to do is change our renderer. Oh, let's go ahead and switch that to Mental Ray. So the next thing I'm going to do is click on Enable Color Management under the Color Management tab. And right here we have Default Input Profile. sRGB Gamma Corrected is the one that we want. This allows you in 2011 to change your setting here. Since we are going to be loading in a normal map, we do want to make sure that we reset the color profile on the normal map back to linear. We're going to go ahead under Quality Presets, we're going down here to Production, and then close that out. Alright, so I'm going to change my color to black, and right here where it says Incandescence, I'm going to load my ambient occlusion into that slot there. Okay, right under here, Mental Ray. I'm going to select on Textures. I'm looking for MIB Ambient Occlusion right there. Good. Okay, then I'm going to go here to Parameters, Samples, 128 to start with. Okay, now right up here, Gate Mask, I'm going to click on Resolution Gate and go ahead and test render that. Okay, so you can see that I'm getting appears to be a nice ambient occlusion on him. Okay, so let's put that away. Now I'm going to load in my normal map. I'll click on that right here under Common Material Attributes, Bump Mapping. I'm going to select on the File, Load a File, and under 2D Bump Attributes, where it says Bump, I'm going to load in Tangent Space Normals. Okay, now under File, I want to change my color profile back to linear. This is essential when you're using this method because the normal map needs to, when it's rendered, it needs to render out as a linear profile. Okay, I'm going to change my filter type to off. Okay, now I'm going to find my image name, and go out here and select my normal map. I'm going to pause while I find it. Okay, there it is. Load that in. Now we'll go ahead and render that again. And you can begin to see the bump on that. It's very light. It's probably not real visible in this capture. So let's see if I can render that again. In an area where you can to see it a little bit better. Doesn't look like the correct map, so, but you can see that the normal map is positioned on that, and it's rendering with the what appears to be an ambient occlusion. Yeah, let's find the correct map, apply that, so we can get a good render. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is add our displacement. So if your laptop or the computer you're working on is not allowing you to import your high resolution mesh to apply to your low resolution mesh, this is an alternative for you to get a good quality render from your models. I'm going to rename normal map. Click on the shaded group node and load my displacement map. Okay, click on Lambert, and right under shading group attributes, there's my displacement map, and I'll select on that and load up my displacement map. And when I find that, I will return. Okay, I'm going to click on File, just name this displacement. And right under File Attributes, Image Name, I'm going to go load up my displacement map. Okay. Come right over here to Displacement. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to come right over here and I'm going to change this off. To avoid the blur. Then down here under color profile, I need to go with linear. And the next thing we're going to do is scroll down to color balance, and we're going to change these values. Maya reads gray as neutral. So we need to change the alpha gain and alpha offset in order to accommodate that. So gray being neutral, it works much like a height map or displacement map, where white is the high level, black is the low level, black is not transparent. So changing the alpha gain and alpha offset is essential for the displacement map to read properly. On the other hand, ZBrush reads black as the base point, and everything is pulled up from that to white. So we have to be able to adjust for that. So each time that you plug in a number for the alpha gain, you need to offset that with the alpha offset. So if this were 1, this is by default 1.0, and the alpha offset is 0. So if this were to, if I were to plug in 5, then I would have to plug in a 0.25 down here. So in alpha gain, I'm just going to put 2.3, and so this would be a negative 1. Try that. Just now, let's go ahead and render that and see what we have so far. Alright, it looks like you put on some weight here, so I'll have to come back here and adjust these settings, but you can get the idea of how this is going. Alright, what we're going to do next is up the subdivisions for rendering purposes. So I'm going to show you a way to do that so that it it does that when you render. You go right up here to Windows, Render Editors, Mental Ray Approximation Editor, and right down here under Subdivisions, click Create, and you will see that you have a new category, Subdivision Surface Quality, and let's go down right here, Approximation Method. We're going to Length, Distance, Angle, and we'll put in a value of 2 and 4 and 0.01 for length. Okay, the way that it's described to me is that these are the subdivision levels. The maximum subdivisions is the one less than what you baked your normal map out as. So if you baked your normal map out ZBrush at subdivision 5, then you'll want to set your max subdivisions at 4 here in the surface quality. And we'll turn on Fine Details. Let's render. Okay, so you can see that I have even more detail showing here now, and with edges like this and like this, I'm thinking that I still have too much influence on that displacement map, so I can go ahead and revise that a little bit more. But you can see there's quite a bit of difference in the detail, the amount of detail from when we started. So alright, so another added point, let's go ahead over here to the ambient occlusion map, and with the spread, I'm going to up this to white now. With the spread, the lower the number, the tighter the spread between black and white, the grayscales, and the higher the number. Like if I were to type in 1, then there would be more spread, you'd get more grays in there. So let's go ahead and render that and see what we get. And I'll come back when it's done rendering. Okay, so this is with 1. I'm going to go ahead and keep that image so we can do a comparison. And now I'm going to come back here and go down to 0.6. It's 0.8 by default, but you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So pause again. Okay, so this is 0.6 and this is 1.0, so you can see there's a pretty dramatic difference in the effect of the ambient occlusion, the spread. So the 0.6 is tighter, the higher the number is a little bit looser, so there's one more setting that you can play with for rendering your model for your portfolio. Alright, now what I'm going to do is use Mental Ray to bake out the ambient occlusion. I'm going to go. Alright, with my model selected, I'm going to Rendering, Lighting and Shading, Batch Bake Mental Ray. Bring up the selection box. We're going to use Bake Shadows and use Bake Set Override. Let's see. I'm going to set this at 1024. A little bit better resolution. I like using Targa files. You can use TIFFs. It's fine too. Okay. We're going to leave Final Gather Quality the default, and you can set this up to 10. Let's build texture seams so that my seams look a little bit better, kind of blend together. Alright. And we're going to click convert and wait for it to process. You can see it's calculating down here. Alright, let's see. So I'll have to get that displacement map on it, but when I get that cleaned up, I think it's going to work. And that's the ambient occlusion map. Alright.